Well, welcome back to another Tim Talks Christian Rock. Tim Risto here, host and fellow Christian rock and metal fan. Welcome to another episode here in my interview series, where I take time to talk to artists, bands, producers, and the like, all sorts of people from the Christian rock and metal scene. Today, I'm really excited because we're going to be talking to the hard rock and metal band Weapons of God. Straight from Ohio, Weapons brings together the talents of 4 band members playing a combo of traditional melodic and power metal, as well as some kind of progressive metal elements in there as well. Weapons has 2 albums out so far, with a third imminent, just on the way here very soon. Weapons of God is their debut album from 2019, followed by their sophomore effort, The War Within Us, from 2021, and coming soon, their third and latest album, 2025's Tribulation. I'm really looking forward to this one. They just had a single drop for that. We're going to talk all about that today as well, too. Weapons of God consists of Steve McGowan, a founder, guitarist, and vocalist, Leon Black on guitars and vocals, Ed Girard on bass, and relative newcomer, I guess you could say, kind of, Jason Harmon on drums. So, Christian music lovers, rockers, and metalheads, I'm honored to welcome Weapons of God to the show today. Hey, guys, welcome. How are y'all doing today?
Doing pretty good.
Excellent, Tim. Thank you.
Awesome, fantastic. Well, we're short Leon at the moment. He'll be joining us shortly, so we'll be watching for him to come on in here. But so glad to have you all here today to be able to talk about Weapons, your music, the business, faith, all this great stuff. I'm really looking forward to it. So let's start out first of all, and maybe Steve, maybe this is up your alley here, but how did each of you guys all first meet? And how ultimately did that lead into, hey, let's start a band?
We'll start with Leon. I first met Leon back in 2016. At the time, former drummer of the band had quit. And so I was looking for another drummer. And actually it was somebody myself and Rochelle knew at the time. His name was Danny Hayden. And so he wanted to try out. Well, he brought along Leon that day of rehearsal. So not really needing another guitar player at the time, Danny just had him come along for the ride that day, and then we got to talking and stuff. And next thing you know, Leon just joining the band. So that's how we met. And then.
And about when did y'all meet? How long ago was that?
That was 2016.
Okay.
And then 2018, Ed joined. Yeah, Ed joined the band. He's actually a former bass player from a band called 4 Star Revival, and we had done. I think we did a couple shows together before then, or maybe one or two, wasn't it? Maybe.
Yeah, a couple.
So. Things kind of fell apart with that band, and Ed reached out, wanted to know if we needed a bass player, and actually at that time we were needing a bass player. So, and then another past drummer, former drummer. we go through drummers like Spinal Tap, okay?
I'm sensing a theme here. Definitely.
These guys are just really difficult to work with. That's the problem.
Hey. The difference this time is Jason's a musician, not just a drummer.
There we go. Oh, by the way, I need to introduce Rochelle here too, McGowan also, who is Steve's sister-in-law, correct? Do I have that right? Excellent. And Rochelle, you're kind of like the marketing, behind-the-scenes person. I know you take photos, all sorts of stuff, right?
Manager/road manager. Priority, and then everything else.
Psychiatrist, accountant.
He's a multitasker.
Yeah, exactly. She's the one that makes it all happen, really, right?
Very much.
I try.
Steve, so how did you, what was the the idea behind starting Weapons of God? Did it start as that band? Did it start as another name and evolve into Weapons of God? What really was the foundation for getting this band going?
Well, it all started under a different name back in 2011, 12.
Yeah, yeah,
With the former band members even back then. I'll give them a shout out. Billy Gentry and Dave Brown. The three of us got together and we started a band. We named it Dreams of Serenity. I don't know. The name just never felt right to me, and well, things kind of fell apart. And Billy and I, we continued to just decided we're going to just do some home recordings, you know.
Yeah.
And so I started writing the song "Weapons of God," and I got to talking to Billy about it. I was like, you know, this would be probably a better name than Dreams of Serenity for the band. And the meaning behind it, which, you know, Weapons of God, you know, is about the armor of God, you know.
Yeah.
So it just went from there, and it just escalated, and pretty much that's how it all started from there.
Did you intend to start as a Christian band, or this was really just a band and then that kind of evolved or developed over time, or how did that come about?
When things didn't work out with Billy and I just decided I'll just continue to do the home recording, just write some music, and I had no plans, no intentions of putting a band together, you know, just not fooling with it.
Right.
And then I met a couple of guys along the way who had the same interest in liking his music style, taste like I. This is Gypsy, by the way. Sorry. But
no, you can come in anytime. Join the party.
So yeah, I mean, so the band kind of took off. There was, like I said, two other past members of the band.
He really didn't have any idea that he was going to have a band. I worked for another company, a construction company in Cincinnati. We had a gentleman come in, and he actually had prophesied over a band that didn't exist. And then we had gone to a church together to visit, and I wanted to go up and get prayed for. So he went with me, and this man that we'd never met took his hand, put his hand on my hand, and prayed for a band that didn't exist. And within 6 months, Weapons of God was here.
Wow.
So it's kind of, he really wasn't going to make a band.
I would say that really the initial start of the band, I would like to say, it started 2016 for me. I mean, because of Leon coming in. Oh, and Danny, who brought Leon into the band, he passed away later on that year.
Okay.
So, but I always like to say 2016 is where it really all began.
Where it started, yeah. Awesome. All right, so Ed, when you got to the band, were you intending to play bass right away, or how did it start for you coming in?
Bass all the way. Yeah.
Bass.
I mean, I started. You know, they say the bass players are frustrated guitar players. Well,
yeah.
As a young pup, I started with guitar for a few years, and it was fun. But I'd always been drawn to the bass. So when I was like 2021, I got my first bass and been playing bass ever since. And that's the main animal for me.
Hold on one second. We got Leon coming in. Let me let him in quick.
Leon.
Hey, I made it.
Hey, thanks for joining us, Leon. Good to have you here. I'm Tim.
Hi, Tim. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too. I was just asking Ed a question. So let me, well, first of all, let me say, hey, welcome, Leon. Glad to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Good to have the whole band here together. This is awesome. So, Ed, why don't you finish telling me about being bass? And actually, I'm going to go around and ask each of you guys this, too. But really, how did you get started in music?
Well, when I was a kid, my dad played guitar fairly steadily. And I was always drawn to music at an early age, so I always knew I wanted to do something with it. So, when I was around 13, 14, started dabbling with guitar. And like I just told you, a few years later, I'd always been drawn to the bass, so I decided to go to bass, and I'm just so much more comfortable. I'm more in my comfort zone with the bass. I don't play strings, I play cables. That's the joke. So And I mean, it's just been a lot of fun. And, I feel like I'm doing you know, sharing my talents for a good reason. So it's just very humbling. It's a lot of fun and it's very humbling.
Were you self-taught pretty much?
Yes. Yeah. I actually took, just for fun. I don't really read music that good. I mean, I can read basic stuff. And so I was interested in maybe learn how to read music at one point. So I went in for a bass lesson with a gentleman named Randy Chacon. He was a popular session player, and he asked me to play something. So I played a piece of Mozart, and he freaked out. He goes, "What the H do you need bass lessons for?" I was like, I'm just trying to expand my horizons." He said, "You're off to a great start." So uh, I don't know. It's just been a fun journey, and I'd say I play mainly by ear. I mean, I'm not if I was a session player, reading music would be a whole different thing. But yeah, right here. Yeah, I'm an ear player all the way. Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Steve, let me come back to you quick. How did you get started in music first? How did it begin for you?
My first love for music probably started with the Monkees, and I wanted to be Mickey Dolenz. I wanted to be a drummer. I wanted to be like Mickey Dolenz when I was a kid.
I remember watching the Monkey TV show a lot.
I used to watch it all the time. But then in fifth grade, I remember fifth grade, an old friend of mine introduced me to Kiss. Showed me a picture of them, and I was just like, all I needed to see was just the picture. I didn't need to hear the music, and I was just floored right from the beginning, and I knew right away I wanted to play guitar from there on out. So, Kiss is what kicked it off for me, and then
What was your first Kiss album?
actually it was Ace Frehley's solo album.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my mom she wouldn't allow she wouldn't buy no Kiss records or nothing for me. She was against it, and so my brother, he actually brought me the Ace Frehley solo album for Christmas. So that's where it all started, and then later on I learned, out of the guitar players like Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, and it just went from there. Love Iron Maiden, you know the power metal, European power metal scene. I like a lot of that. And I mean, I like Black Label Society, just Zach Wild. And
Good stuff. All right, Leon, let's come to you for a second. How did you get started? I know you've got a extensive career here in music, right? I mean, you've got at least 30 years behind you.
At least. um, I mean, I got interested in guitar when I was really young. My parents bought my brother a guitar and an amplifier that he didn't use, and I began to pick it up and just kind of plunk around on it. Didn't know a whole lot about it, but I got more and more interested. Had a gentleman that used to play guitar at a church that I went to probably when I was, I don't know, 13, 14 years old. Started to show me a few things here and there, and I began to kind of work on that. And then I had some friends that kind of turned me on to other music, Zeppelin, Sabbath, the Doors, lots of other stuff as well. I think probably between The Song Remains the Same by Led Zeppelin. I don't know how many times I watched that movie over and over. I used to go over to a friend's house that was a big Zeppelin fan, and he pretty much, you could choose which Zeppelin album, but that was pretty much all you got to listen to when you were at his house, and that movie was almost always on in the background kind of thing. So between watching that, getting into some early Christian rock, I think I had Stryper live in Japan on Betamax back in the day that I probably watched, I don't know how many times, a whole bunch of times. And one of my friends that I grew up with kind of started showing me, some basic stuff on guitar as he was learning guitar. and I kind of followed him. And then some friends of mine that were at school that I found out once I started playing, I found out, oh, hey, this guy plays too, and this guy plays too. And then it was a matter of, get together after school and just kind of jamming around on songs and trying to learn stuff. And we started a band while I was still in high school. And we probably played, I don't know, maybe a handful of covers. And I just kind of went into, I felt like my time was better spent writing. Once I realized I could pretty much write and play whatever I wanted, I just started writing songs, and then we started writing original songs in that band, and it kind of went on from there. So I've taken some hiatuses here and there. I think it was probably back about 2007. I hadn't really played for probably 3 or 4 years. And my wife bought me a new guitar for Christmas that year, and she said, I hope this inspires you to get back into music. And I kind of told her, be careful what you ask for. So
It must have worked.
yeah, it did. And I continued to go through then. Actually, it was that I had played in a band from about 95 until about 2002 or 2003. A band called Stumble Cane with some very close friends of mine, and we never really broke up the band. We just kind of stopped playing together. I had kids, I had moved and bought a house and that kind of thing, and around 07, 08, started playing again, and I had mostly been writing at home, doing some recording, learning to record and things like that, and got recruited for this band by the guy I played in that band with, the drummer Danny Hayden, who has since passed. God rest his soul. Danny was he was my best friend for a long time. Music and everything else, we were neighbors, and he and I got back together and started playing, just me and him some, and then he recruited me to play bass in a cover band he was in, and kind of at that point in time, he took me along to a tryout where he was going to go try out for Steve and the other guys that he was playing with at the time, and I went along kind of with the intent to sing, to try out just singing, because I had sang in the other band before, but always as a second thought because I was a guitar player. We never could find a singer kind of thing, and I thought it was a good opportunity to maybe be able to work on my singing without having to focus on trying to play at the same time. And once I heard some of the songs and heard what was going on, I was like, yeah, I want to play guitar. So I said, I'll sing some eventually as we go on, but guitar was my first love, and as far as music goes, and I wanted to play guitar, so took the demo songs that he had and learned them, and
yeah,
here we are today.
Awesome. And so you've stuck to guitar playing then pretty much from then on. That's
Pretty much,
been your
yeah.
instrument of choice.
Yeah, I still
Okay.
dabble around on bass and keyboards a little bit here and there, but pretty much since I've joined up with Weapons of God, guitar's kind of just been my main primary focus. So I used to do a lot of programming and stuff too, electronic music and things like that I haven't really messed with too much in the past 5 or 6 years probably, but still a love for all things experimental, but this is my focus right now, so.
Very cool. Well, before I come to Jason and how he got started in music, I'm going to ask, since we got all these guitarists here, I got to ask this because famous guitarists often have like a great appreciation for their instrument, right? You've got, I think, being here in Texas, we had Stevie Ray Vaughan here. He had a name for his guitars. He had Number One, he had Lenny. Willie Nelson here had, what was his? Trigger. He had a guitar named Trigger. So do you guys have names for your guitars?
I do not, no.
No? Okay.
No. I call them usually by color and brand.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you got too many guitars, Leon. It'd be hard to
No, no,
name all
no,
of
no, no, no. There's never too many.
them. I mean, I meant you had lots of them, not too
More
many.
maybe than one person should own, but never too many. The optimal number is always current number plus one. So I'm a bit of a gearhead,
It's-
Tim.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I've
not
heard
not
that.
just
I've heard
guitars,
that.
but amps and anything else musical as well. I like to dabble with all kinds of
Nice.
gear.
Well, we'll have to get into that here a little bit too. Steve, were you about to say that you had a whole host of names for your guitars?
Just one name. I play a Schecter Hellraiser, and I call her Nikki. I don't know.
Nikki.
Nikki,
I
yeah.
love it. Very cool.
That's
Very
the only name I
cool.
got.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Ed, what about you? You got a name for your
Well, as
bass?
far as a proper name, not really, but I just refer to my basses as weapons of subsonic devastation. And that kind of encompasses it right there. But as far as although a good friend of mine, he'll take characters from people from the Bible, and he has a bunch of different guitars. One's David, and one's James, and one's this, and one's that. That's kind of cool. So
Now that's cool. I've
yeah,
never heard that before. That's an
yep,
awesome idea.
pretty neat.
Very cool. All right, Jason, let's get over to you. You've been waiting here for a while. Tell me how you got into music.
I was forced into music in fourth grade because everybody had to play the flutophone or the recorder.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and then I think it was probably about sixth grade when I actually started playing just snare drum. Well, generally drums, not a whole kit in band. So it goes all the way back to there. But I was also introduced to, bells, xylophone, things like that. So just a little bit beyond smashing things. So you actually, taught to be a little melodic. Um, and then the summer before I went to college, a buddy of mine in high school wrote down some chords for me. So I started picking up guitar. Bass was kind of a natural extension of that. And over the years, as I started writing instead of just, practicing and playing other people's stuff, I learned to pick up keyboards. I mean, if you asked me to play any chord, I'd have to sit there and like sound it out. I was like, okay, well, this sounds right. I still wouldn't be able to tell you like whether it's an augmented whatever, but I just know that it sounds good or sounds interesting. So kind of like Ed, I always play by ear or tablature. If I can read music, but it's ponderous and nobody wants to be around for that. Um, so I mean the good thing is it's been beneficial to be able to um, play all those instruments at least halfway decent to the point where I can take a demo or an idea, turn it into a fully functional or fully formed demo and share it with everybody else. They can add their own pieces and parts, collaborate, make it better. Um, as far as I don't have nearly as many guitars as Leon does, but I do have a kind of a small tool belt, and their names vary. Sometimes it's dang it, sometimes it's come on, sometimes it's are you kidding me? Because when I sit down and I, you know, try to record a certain part, my
Right.
wife is used to hearing my three keys smash. It's like stop, delete, record, stop, delete, record. So
I love it.
I don't have any formal names other than that though.
Right. Yeah. Well, hey, that works as long as you can tell them apart, right? Very cool. So, all right. So you guys now, Jason, you joined a couple years ago. Is that right?
Yeah, I think I'm sort of like going on year three. They their previous drummer, I saw that he wasn't with them anymore, so I know how difficult it is, having been in other bands, um, to replace drummers, especially. Um, being a drummer myself, I feel like I can say this. So usually they're either reliable and not really all that great, or absolute rock stars and just not very reliable. It's kind of hard to find a good mix of both of those traits. So I reached out to Rochelle, her and Steve and I joined up, and they let me come in for a couple auditions, if just to be able to fill out what dates they already had booked and give them a little bit of time to find a new drummer, because I wasn't looking to become part of the band. Um, so they found another drummer. That worked out for a while. Had some more dates, so I came back in as with the same kind of uh, engagement that we had before, and I haven't left yet. Something tells I don't know if they've given up a search for another drummer or not, but if they have, they haven't told me.
I think you're in, man. I think you're solid. Yeah. Well, so let's see. It was 2019 was the debut album, Weapons of God. And then you all had your second album in 2021, The War Within Us. It's really cool to see the progression between those two albums, because your debut album, you guys really had. I like some. I hate to say it, but there's some of the variety in there. Even some of the songs. I love "Fade Away." I love "Ghosts," "Saving Grace." Each of those are very different songs, though, in many ways, but they're still kind of unified by a style. And then you guys have grown to "The War Within Us," which, gosh, I got a lot of favorites on there. And that album almost the way it started almost reminded me a little bit, not necessarily musically so much as just kind of stylistically, of Deliverance's Weapons of Our Warfare. Kind of a little intro, and then the instrumental, and then it's not that y'all are thrash so much, although I know you have some little elements here and there of that, but just
metal.
music, I just thought, yeah, pure metal, exactly.
It's all
and
metal.
That's kind of what I was exactly, and that's what I'm leading up to, is how would you guys describe yourselves, your sound? Because there has been a little bit of development, there is a little play in there, but you're obviously solid hard rock and metal. But how would you describe your style, your sound? Is there any Ohio regional influence in there? How would you describe your sound?
I mean, I just it's all metal to me.
All metal.
Yeah, just different levels of metal.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like to try to pigeonhole anybody, really. I know it helps if somebody's looking for a certain style of music. It helps to have those genres and subgenres and all that stuff, so you can kind of give an indication. But I've always been kind of my approach is that I will play pretty much what anybody writes. I may not like everything that everybody writes, but if the band wants to go forward with something, whether I like it or not, to me doesn't matter. I've got a position to uphold and to support them in what they like. So I will play pretty much anything in pretty much any style. Once I've spoken my piece about it, but I'm not. Yeah, it's hard. I just, I tell people it's metal. It's heavy metal. Hard rock, heavy metal.
I call it heavy rock.
There's just so many influences.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Heavy rock. There we go. Go ahead, Steve.
There's just so many influences between all of us. I mean, it's just whatever comes out. We just write. There's no. Who was it, Leon, that told us that we need to learn how to stay in our lane, or what was that?
I don't know who said it, but that person has no idea what music is about, whoever it was. Yeah.
It was some review, I don't know, but they were pretty much telling us we need to learn how to stick with one genre type of metal, and no, it's not us. We write what's on our hearts.
Yeah.
And
why limit ourselves? Or I feel that about any band, in a sense. There's just because good example. Back first 4 albums, I was a huge Metallica fan. Black Album came out, to me, did not sound like Metallica anymore. I lost interest in that. Plus, at the same time, I think I was gearing into some heavier stuff, getting into more kind of obscure hardcore stuff. But clearly they branched out in a sense, and look what it did for them. You know what I mean? And look how many people have been exposed to their music because of it. So, I don't think I would ever tell anybody to stay in their lane just because my personal preferences may be different than what you're doing currently. Do your thing, man, and do it with your whole heart and push on. And I wish you success. So,
Got to pave your own road.
Yeah, amen. Well, how do you all collaborate in the writing process? Is one of you tend to be more the lyrical writer, and some of you are more heavy in the musical collaboration. How does that process develop for you all as a group?
Each one of us, we bring something to the table on this new album that's coming, Tribulation. Since Jason's been in the band, he's really contributed to quite a bit of the writing, bringing in songs, and usually it's been myself, Leon, Ed. But yeah, Jason, he's been a blessing. He's brought in quite a few stuff into the band, and well, even the Christmas song last year, he brought that in. I don't know if you've heard that yet, but that's all Jason. Even him singing in the Scottish voice. That's it. So I mean,
Jason's kind of a songwriting machine. He gives us a lot of things to pick from. So he's like, hey, listen to this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And then we go, okay, well, we'll take, what about number 2 and number 4? And maybe we'll consider the 5th one. And, once we start, I think for me, a lot of it is I try to kind of envision what it's going to sound like with us as a live band. And sometimes I'm wrong and I get an opinion about something and I think, I don't think this is going to work. And then we start jamming on the song or the parts and then go, hey, actually, this is actually going to work really well. So that's been kind of a joy, kind of a discovery, even though there might be already some structure and stuff there, to kind of, like Jason said, collaborate and sort of make it better, or at least make it kind of our own. I've really enjoyed doing that. So
That's cool. So, Jason, do you come up with a lot of the lyrics as well, or how does that work for y'all?
No, I think that mostly um, the songs are, for the most part, have been traditionally introduced, at least since I've been in, and for this current album, they've really been almost fully formed. Um, I think there's one song called 10 Crowns that definitely has everybody's fingerprints on it from start to finish. Um, I think originally Leon and Ed had a couple different licks. I had heard them, and I just went home, did something with them, wrote some lyrics, came back, and it's like, oh, this isn't too bad. And it's evolved into what it is today. Kind of the same thing with Damnation Writers. Ed and I spent a few hours over the Christmas break this last year. He had some stuff that he wanted to get out. We ended up with 2 fully formed songs. Steve added the lyrics for that one. So, but even things that we bring to the table that are already fully formed, they very rarely will, either lyrically and or musically, will end up exactly like that once we go through the whole creative collective process. But yeah, I love writing lyrics. In fact, when I'm on a road trip, or sometimes even when I'm just sitting at home, I'll do like 1,000-word exercise. I'll just kind of pick a topic, because I devour books like crazy, and I'll just pick a topic and try to write 1,000 words on it, just free form, and then eventually some of that stuff can ultimately bleed into a song.
Yeah. Well, how did this new album that's coming out, it's called Tribulation? How did that album come about? The theme, and then some of the songs and music. How did that whole idea come about for this third album, which is, I don't have the date here. I'll have to ask Rochelle about the date again. I think it's coming out in about a week or so. July 18th. Thank you. So how did Tribulation come about, and how did the recording of that album go? And anybody feel free to jump in.
So, I mean, I'll start with the first album was kind of, for the most part, I think with the exception of one song, was pretty much Steve had written with previous band members, or he had written for that band, and then we kind of modified those songs. And that album was recorded in more of like multi-track sessions. So we laid down drum tracks, we went back, laid down a guitar track, went back, laid down another guitar track, and kind of in that process laid down some bass, then went back and laid down some vocals. And we were also juggling band members at that time. So I think at one point, I know Steve and I probably talked about this elsewhere, but at one point he and I split the songs up, and he played bass on 5 songs and I played bass on 5 songs, and we went back in the studio and recorded all the bass lines just before Ed joined the band. And then once we heard Ed play, and we were like, yeah, we're scrapping all that. We want Ed to lay down the bass lines. So it took some time. It was done in a different process. The mixing process was kind of, at least myself, way less involved with mixing, which was very foreign to me because, to me, that's where you want your musicians that are involved. You want their ear on the sound to sound like them. So I think the first record to me, while it's a good record, it came out well, it's mastered pretty well. My opinion of it kind of was it didn't really sound like us, especially live. So there's a different kind of sound live than what was really captured on that record. So when we went in to do The War Within Us, after finalizing Ed and the band at the time, Greg Allen was playing drums with us. We had kind of flushed everything out, and we basically went in the studio and recorded pretty much everything live right there in the studio, and ended up re-recording 2 songs from the first record at that time because, for my part, I was like, even if I pay for those out of my own pocket, I want to re-record those 2 songs because they're my 2 favorite songs, and I want them to sound like what we sound like instead of what they sound like on that record. So that was kind of the idea going into the third record. Jason has his own work process, so he kind of tracked his own drums in his own studio and put together tracks, and then we worked on those tracks as far as playing along with the songs once we had already fleshed the songs out at the rehearsal studio. And then we went in and recorded everything live with his pre-recorded tracks, and I think it worked out really well. I'm very pleased with how everything came out, really. So, and there's still a bunch of material floating around too between us. So, like, maybe we'll just turn around and do another album. So we'll see how that goes. But
keep it rolling, absolutely. Right. Well, what's Tribulation about? Thematically as an album.
Tribulation is kind of a play on words. I would say 10 Crowns was probably the first song that we started putting together, and then you talk Jason talking about him and Ed working together on a song, which Damnation Riders. I thought, okay, this is kind of interesting. Here you have 10 Crowns, and then you have Damnation Riders, which is about the 4 Horsemen. And Jason had this other song called Salvation Is Here, which is talking about Christ appearing on the white horse, And so I thought it would be clever to call the album Tribulation just for those 3 songs as a trilogy, and taking the Try and Tribulation as our third full-length studio album, the Try and Trilogy, and the Tribulation of those 3 songs. Originally, well, I don't know originally, but we were actually tossing around the idea.
Careful. Don't give away any secrets there, pal. No spoilers, Steve.
Okay, never mind.
No spoilers.
You have to listen to it.
You have to listen to the record, man.
Well, let me just say, the original, we had another ideal name for the CD, and we tossed the ideal around. And we're like, well, will people take us serious or not if we call the album this title? So
Yeah.
I'm not going to give it away, but it's on the CD.
It's
Well,
Yeah,
I think
you'll
it's
know when you
only
hear it.
on the CD too, right?
yeah.
Huh?
I think it's only on the
That's
CD.
that's correct. Yes, it's on the CD.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So.
Well, we'll cover that in a follow-up interview.
Yeah. So I think it kind of it all sort of themed together. You know, we were talking about as we were getting ready to go in and start tracking, talking about like the songs that we had, the song order. In my OCD brain, I have to kind of make everything make sense, start to finish. I even put together, I think, a little short paragraph using all of the song titles to kind of summarize an idea, and had those songs in that paragraph by title listed in order. So I think the songs, all of it in a sense, kind of touches on just the idea that these are difficult times. And I don't mean difficult as in I'm having a hard time finding a job difficult. I mean it's difficult because the world is going absolutely off the rails on so many levels that I think if there's a theme, that's kind of it in a sense that the world is a rough place, and then it's sort of at least in my mind, it's kind of our reaction to that in the sense of pointing toward Christ as the salvation, as the song "Salvation is Here." Kind of summarize all that, and it's like even through all of this chaos and all these other things and all these changes and all this evil in the world and even just confusion and things like that, there's an answer to all of that, and we're kind of trying to point to that answer. That's kind of the goal here, and Christ is that answer, and we hope to be able to help people find the answer and the peace and the hope and everything that we've found ourselves and that so many others have. Although it's not really a popular opinion in the big old world out there, in my experience of 50 some years, it's the only thing that really works. So,
Yeah. Amen to that.
so like
Well,
even my shirt. Can you see the shirt? I'm sure it's
Jesus.
backwards.
Oh, I've read the final chapter. God wins. Yes. I love it.
That was a Father's Day gift from my kids a couple years back.
Too cool. Well, you must have raised them right. They knew what you knew
Yeah.
what Dad would like. So
I,
that's
I
fantastic.
appreciate that thought, but I wonder sometimes. They have
I've
to
been there.
grow.
Well, you bring up a great point. Of course, getting into, being a band that is emphasizing the reason you guys are doing this, assumedly, is the bottom line is to reach people with the message of Christ. How do you guys, obviously lyrics, are one of the ways that you guys incorporate that into the band, but are there other ways that each of you strive to kind of, live out your faith through weapons of God? I mean, I don't know. Do you pray before recording sessions? If you guys have done a number of live shows, do you minister to people before or after shows? What does it look like for each of you to be a part of, the faith aspect of Weapons of God?
Anybody?
Well, I
If you let me talk, dude, I'll talk all night. So as long as I'm not on a stage, I got plenty of things to say. Other than that, it's like listen to this song.
no, I
Go
think
for it,
that
Leon. Or anybody. Jason, go ahead.
well, a lot of times, I mean, it's very easy to say, it's not the music is and the lyrics are kind of the vehicle to the personal face-to-face ministry and things like that. You always pray before rehearsal, you always pray before going on stage, you always do this, you always do that. But I mean, the you really do have to make that as a habit to remind yourself that even when you are going out and quote putting on a show that it's really not about the gifts and talents that are on loan to you that you're using at that point. It's about the giver of those gifts and talents, and making sure that regardless of your circumstances, whether you're having a good night, a great night, a good day, a great day, a good period, a bad period, that he's still the author of it all. Um, so I think that's the main thing. And just speaking for me personally, I I don't tend to write, and I always write from a Christian worldview, but the things that I put into lyric form aren't really always beating you over the head with Jesus like a street corner preacher, because as we all know, that's not necessarily a great method of evangelism. A lot of times it's just being able to speak on a subject that's near and dear to somebody's heart, um, or just interesting from a political or sociological standpoint that provides that Christian worldview and that lens through which they can look and see that topic. So, um, and I think we all kind of have that that same style, whether we consciously know it or not. Um, so and it's not like you do that to appeal to the broadest audience or try to water down the message. You definitely don't want to water down the message, but being able to kind of reach people where they are, pull out that element of we're not preaching you, we're not preaching to you,
Yeah.
we're really trying to relate to you. So
So true, forming that relationship with people, even an audience, that's there to hear you, or that you don't meet, that's hearing your CD or whatever, what you say, of course, is part of it, how you play, but all those things are just part of the dynamic of living out your faith in a way that's, sincere and genuine. And God works through that process in ways we don't always understand.
Amen.
Hey,
So,
Tim,
yeah.
there's being in my position, it's kind of unique for me because I look at it through a lens, but I also look at it before the events happen or wherever we are. I look at it afterwards and the relationships that we form at each of these places. And we were in Pennsylvania, Indiana, Pennsylvania, and we still have contact with the pastor there and the people there because of some things that came up that day. We have prayed with people after they played in a bar in Kentucky. This woman came to him, and we all went out afterwards with her and talked and prayed with her. We had a woman in Lima that actually gave us a Ouija board afterwards because of some things that had happened while he was singing Ghost. So a lot of it is from the lyrics. People hear it, but then they come up afterwards and talk to these guys and talk to us, and it goes from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Being approachable and just being there sometimes. And the song sometimes is really the hook that will get people into a conversation or into thinking about something too. That's really cool. Ed, what about you? How do you feel about you're the bass guy. Sometimes
Well,
that's the unsung hero.
a lot of times, just starting up a conversation with somebody, lay out a couple dad jokes, which rhymes with bad. Uh, and just getting their attention and, just showing your faith by being nice to people. I mean, that right there speaks volumes because, some, and, I told, this girl up Speedway, she's a cashier. I go in there, tell her a dumb joke and everything, and it brightens her day. I mean, just being kind, just being nice to people. I mean, says a lot right there. If you can encourage them and put a smile on their face, they might be having a crappy day. If you can make them smile by a dumb joke, hey, I mean that's it's just showing some love. It's showing some compassion, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Setting an example by the way we live our lives, right? I love that. Leon, I know you were going to say something earlier. How do you feel about living out your faith life through Weapons of God?
Yeah, I mean, they've kind of all touched on what I was going to say already, anyways.
Okay.
I think kind of like Jason was saying, I write a lot. Not as much here so recently, but I mean, as we were talking about, writing songs, and Jason was talking about him writing his essays and things, I reached down and picked up a folder, that's just absolutely, here, I'll put this up to the camera. It's just absolutely full of stuff, and most of it is just things that are like scratched down on paper, not formal writings. It's like I have an idea in a moment, and a lot of the times, it's more of a what's going on at the time, not so much of how can I make this song a Christian song, or how can I write, these Bible verses into a song. It's more of the, man, I'm experiencing this and I'm feeling this, and the Christianity part of it comes through because that is my worldview. And I think that I've had friends of mine over the years that probably any of them that you would talk to, I would doubt that there are anybody that I know that doesn't know that I'm a Christian. In the sense that I just, like Ed said, you be nice to people, you handle things a certain way. Probably if there was anybody that had any doubts, it would probably be people that I work with, and it's been people that have had to work with me, I guess. Let me say it that way. I've tried to work with, and they were forced to work with me because I'm a very I don't like to beat around the bush about things. I'm very direct, especially in a workplace type situation. I'm like, look, we are not here to be friends and socialize. We're here to get a job done. This is how we get paid. This is how we support our families. This is how we, pay for the things that we need, and take care of our business. So a lot of people in the workplace don't want to hear that. They want to be friends and they want to know what you do. And, I don't mind sharing things with folks at work, but I keep my work life and my personal life kind of separated in a sense. But there'll also be some people that say probably that maybe I preach too much. My kids would probably say I preach too much, but largely it's not so much it's not a
That's
preaching
called
to them.
parenting.
It's not a, yeah, it's called parenting. Right on, Jason. I was just talking to my mother just this evening about that. And I'm like, I try to get them to understand that the reason why I tell you I think this is a bad idea, or I think you should do this, or you shouldn't do that, is because I've been there, and I know when I was that age, it was hard for me to understand that. When my parents were trying to tell me those same things, you kind of got to learn and grow on your own. But Rochelle, the feedback we get from Rochelle, because she's able to be out off the stage, out in the crowd and stuff. Because when you're on stage, a lot of times sometimes you can't see anybody. You just see lights, and that's it. And you just try to stay focused, play the music, and put out the best product that you can while you're up there on stage. But I always try to go out and try to speak to people beforehand, afterwards. And I have to say, in this journey, with this band, I've said it a bunch of times. If you'd have told me when I was 25 years old that I would still be doing this past the age of 50, I would have told you were nuts. I mean, there was a time in my life where I felt like I'll be lucky if I live to see 40. You know what I mean? So I think it's the way I got pulled into this with these guys, and the way things have just flowed and worked out, and the work ethic and everything else. It's God pushing me, saying, I'm not done with that part of you yet, and I feel an obligation, out of gratitude, to do whatever I can to give that all back to God, the best way I possibly can. So I don't always do it the right way. I don't always say the right things.
Right.
I still need a savior just like everybody else. So,
Amen. Amen. Now, it's a great point. And Well, two things. First of all, I want to echo that sentiment you brought up earlier about, Christian band. You're not striving to like fit God into the message. You're relating through circumstances or situations that you think everybody can obviously relate to, either things you all have gone through or personally or otherwise. That's the type of band that drew me to Christian music when I was in high school. In fact, another Ohio band, Prodigal, was what drew me in back in the 80s. um, Rick Fields, Dave Workman, Lloyd Bowman. That was a band that captured me because it wasn't just overtly Christian. The message was in there, certainly, but it was about this relating to just things that I, as a teenager at the time, could relate to what they were talking about. It was just
Right on.
everyday stuff, but it had, there was something different about it. I could tell. And then as I listened more, I caught some of the lyrics that fit in. But that's what drew me into Christian music. And I didn't think of it so much as Christian music. It's just music I liked,
Right.
and then I found out the message was there. So kudos to y'all for sticking your grounds on that. And like you shared about earlier too, the music, just, yeah, don't look for a genre to stick to, right? You're just creating what weapons of God should be. I love that. The other thing that you kind of brought up there, Leanne, that maybe you all can all speak to, I know the band's been through, some ups and downs over the years. I mean, I know losing your drummer friend, Leon, and some of the ups and downs of coming through the pandemic too, and everything that dealt had its challenges.
Right
But
on.
how do each of you all have you persevered as the band? I know, Jason, you're a little newer to the band, but how have each of you all been able to persevere through some of those ups and downs in the band?
Yeah, I cheated. I fast forwarded through most of it.
It's been a learning process, I'll tell you.
Sure.
You learn, you live, you pray a
A
lot,
lot.
do a lot of praying,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just depend on God to take care of things and to handle things and to keep leading us where we need to be. And I mean, this is all for Him and by Him. I
Yeah.
mean, what He says goes, and
Amen. Do each of you, we can go around here, do each of you have, and I know this is always tough, it's like naming your favorite child, right? But do each of you have a favorite song? And I know you can't talk too much about the new album, but a favorite song that still kind of resonates with you today? Or just a favorite?
Are you talking about a Weapons of God
And tell
song
me
or
why.
just a
Like
song
a
in general?
favorite of our songs or any song?
Yeah. Yeah, Weapons of God song. I'm sorry. Yeah.
well, we can mention the new songs. I mean, there's no problem doing that. We
Okay.
can talk
Yeah.
about some
Tell
new
me what's
songs.
a favorite for y'all.
I think for me, because it's so personal, is probably still Ghost, because Ghost is pretty much about my past when I used to ghost hunt. I used to dabble in some things I shouldn't have been dabbling in, Ouija boards and a little bit of witchcraft, but ghost hunting was my main source that I love to go to. And that song is about, the song starts off about the experience of ghost hunting, what I was experimenting. But then by the end of the song, the one ghost I should have been hunting for was the Holy Spirit, the Holy Ghost. And that's how the song ends, where I finally find the Holy Spirit. And so that song is really personal to me when I wrote it.
How quick question, side note on that. I've got a family member or a couple family members that are into that same thing right now. How did you kind of find your way out of it? Was it the Holy Spirit came to you and kind of helped lead you out of that,
Oh,
or how?
oh, absolutely, yeah. I had an eye opener. I mean, I realized that it wasn't your long lost grandmother, a child, your father just lurking around in your homes or whatever. It's demons. It's evil. I mean, the devil knows your heart and desire just as much as God does. And I got back in the church. That helped me open my eyes to a lot of things. I started playing in praise and worship music at the time. So yeah, I had a really big eye opener, and what was crazy about it, I was so immune to it that when I was getting away from it, it was, you know, I never done drugs or was never, I've never been an alcoholic. I don't know what that's like to have a withdrawal from all that. All I can say is when I was coming out of that, I had nightmares after nightmares of demons and ghosts coming after me. I wake up in the middle of the night screaming, you know, and all I could think is that that was the withdrawal that they were trying to hang on to me because I was, like I said, I was so immune to it. I wasn't afraid of it. I wasn't scared. It was like such an adrenaline rush for me to go out and have these experiences and what's out there, and it's real. I mean, it's real. It's demonic. It's evil.
No doubt. No doubt about it. Yeah, it reminds me of C.S. Lewis book, The Screw Tape Letters, the demons that are plotting behind the scenes, or what was it? Frank Peretti had a couple books years ago, This Present Darkness, that talked all about how, was kind of a look at how maybe the spirits work behind the scenes to influence us. The evil spirits work behind the scenes to influence us. Kind of interesting to really see that and to understand it is real, right? And all the more reason why we need a savior to look to him
I know. Yeah.
protection. So amen. Well, glad you got out of that, man. Glad you got out of that. I pray for some of my family members too, hoping they will find their way clear as well.
We'll keep you in prayer as well.
Yeah. Hey, thank you. Appreciate that. Leon, what about you? Favorite song that speaks to you still today from Weapons of God?
I don't know if I have any single favorite. I really like Death of Me off of the new record. I wouldn't say it's a favorite necessarily, but it's one that I think Steve's had bits and pieces to for a few years that he and I have messed around with. And when he finally kind of finished it out and then said, hey, here, I finished this and here's the demo, like from the first time I listened to it, I was like, that turned out really good. I really like that song. So, lyrically, there's a song on the new record called Empty Room that's kind of personal to me, but a part of me still considers that kind of unfinished. And there's a myriad of reasons that I won't go into, but, that song essentially is about, I say without being too specific, as you get older, if you live long enough, people around you that you're close to that begin to die. And we have, all of us, I think, experienced a lot of that in the last, I'm going to say probably more years than we've been together, but something that we've shared in common and that we've all been through some very hard times. And it's very hard to lose someone close to you. And it doesn't always have to be through death necessarily. They could just, for whatever reason, abandon you, somebody you thought that cared about you and they just vacate on you and all of a sudden, you start to see maybe they weren't the person that you thought they were, kind of thing as well. Musically, I like all of it. I guess I would be easier for me to say this is my least favorite song than to say this particular song is my favorite song. So, and it's hard because I'm hypercritical, I think, of everything I do that I'm involved with musically. So it almost feels pretentious to say, hey, this is my favorite song, and it's one that is from my band. But I've gotten, I've had people before ask me and say, well, if you had to pick one, who's your favorite band? That's a very, very difficult thing for me to pick. I like so many different styles of music and so many different bands that there's a couple that come to mind. That wasn't the question you asked, so I'm not going to provide an answer to a question that you didn't ask, but
okay, I'll ask it. So what's your favorite band? Gotcha.
Well, honestly, when you first said that about a favorite song, I was thinking that you were meaning any song.
Right.
There is a song on the album Lucis by Mortal. I can't think of the title of it. I go back to it every now and then. It's basically about bringing the refrain in the song or the chorus is, why can't we give the people are dying in the streets? Why can't we give them what they're dying for? And that's peace, hope, love, and Jesus Christ. Again, I think it's called, the name of the song will come to me like 10 minutes from now. You hear me pop out with a word, and you'll be like, what is that? I'll be like, yeah, that was the song title I was thinking about before. But
Feel free to add it.
that's a song that I've always come back to over the years. It's always an emotional song to me. It gets me moving in my emotions kind of thing. So that was just the first thing that popped into my head when you first asked the question before we clarified that you were saying
Right.
a Weapons of God song. So short answer to long, none of them.
That works. You
I
gave
don't
some
pick
insight
favorites.
with it, right?
It's like
I
asking
like
me
that.
which one's my favorite guitar.
I know it's a tough question. I got to try and mine for it, though. All right, Jason or Ed, do either of you have a favorite
I'll
Weapons
tell
of
you,
God song?
we got a lot of cool songs, but it's kind of hard to narrow down. A couple of things that jump in my mind are um, "The War Within," our title track on our second album. It's a really, really, really rocking tune. It's really cool. It's got a good message. It's pretty solid stuff. And yeah, it's really cool. Now on the new album, I'd have to say I'm really digging the song "Tribes." We're not dropping the gun here, are we? Okay. Um, okay. And I got to admit,
No, you're
I'm
good.
kind of partial to 10 Crowns. I think 10 Crowns turned out really, really nice. I mean, that was definitely a team effort, man. I mean, well, they're all team efforts, but all of us really put our nose to the grindstone on these new songs, and yeah, they're. I can't wait for y'all to hear them. I think you're really gonna dig them.
I'm excited. I can't wait to hear the album. I love the single. What was the title of the single that dropped again? I didn't write that down.
That was Death of
And I
Me.
was just gonna say,
Death of Me.
as
Death of
far
Me.
as
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was the
as
one
far
I
as a
mentioned.
band, a song from another
Yeah,
band, I'm a big Iron Maiden guy. Check out the song Alexander the Great on the Somewhere in Time album.
yeah.
Somewhere in Time. That's a good one.
Alexander the Great.
Jason.
Okay.
Yeah, I think for me, like Leon said, it's really difficult to just say this is a favorite. Just off the new album, I think that two that stand out for me are probably Open Letter to Corporatocracy and 10 Crowns, just because they alternate with different time signatures, which I'm a big fan of, as long as you can do it tastefully and not just for the fact of changing time signatures. Um, in that vein, from other bands, I really love Losing It from Rush, which is about having a gift and watching it fade and no longer be able to utilize that gift because it's slowly taken away from you over the passage of time. I take a different view of that, in that I don't lament things that I'm, progressively able to do as well over time. I look at it like I'm so grateful for having been able to do it than to have not. It's like, Michael Jordan can't play basketball like he used to 30 years ago. But if I was him, I'd be grateful for the gift that I had at the time. And then the standard bearer for me these days is probably Numa from Tool, because I mean, just look at how many videos there are out there of people trying to emulate different parts of that song. So,
Yeah. Interesting.
Hey,
Very
you all
cool.
got to mention your favorite secular band, but I didn't. I didn't.
Well,
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 I never said favorite. Those are just
Oh, well, your
like the songs
favorite.
that stand out.
Yeah.
That's a later question.
Those are just
Yeah.
songs.
I did.
You already mentioned
I did.
Yeah.
Mine's the Go-Go's. We got the beat. Okay.
I knew it.
Yes, hands
Is it
down.
really? Is it really? All right, Rochelle, what's your favorite Weapons of God song?
Originally, it was Ghost, because that was the first song I ever heard when he first started writing the first CD, and then also because I've seen so many people affected by it um, over time. And now I have to say, when we were in the studio, I never felt emotional in anything until I put the headphones on listening to Innocent Blood and I started crying.
Really?
So, yeah.
It was that bad. It was terrible. He's like, you're not going to put this on the CD, are you?
Cut it!
Yeah,
Cut it!
I think I'm not into really. I'm not a metalhead. Didn't get into metal until I met this man 20 years ago.
Right.
But
Right.
I think Innocent Blood is for me because of the subject matter and because of. I mean, really.
Yeah, go tell.
It's about abortion.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, and they had just added an acoustic to it, and I heard the finished thing, and I literally had to leave the room. So
Wow.
It turned out really good.
I know
Really?
that somebody out there is going to be affected by it, like they were with Ghost,
Yeah.
and that's why right now those two are my favorite.
Awesome. Man, y'all are doing a great job of teasing the album because now I'm like, I got to hear the whole thing. I got.
No,
I'm not.
that's all we got.
So
Yeah.
I've said this a million times, but I'm an album guy. Most of the time when I listen to music, I pick an album and I listen to a whole album. I loved doing that back in the day with 8-track tapes, with vinyl. We're going from the start of side one all the way to the end of side two. I used to get, and still do, get a little bothered sometimes with random play stuff because if I hear track 3 off of that record that I know, man, I want track 4 to start right after that, and 5 and everything else. So I would encourage you, yes, buy the CD, listen to the whole thing. It'll be, in my opinion, it's worth your time. So,
Oh, I'm with you. I'm a big Pink Floyd fan, and so a
yeah.
lot of their stuff, just flows. The whole album is kind of one theme and one song. It kind of flows together, and so I've always gotten used to that too from an early age, and I love that too. I love to listen to the whole album. It bugs me when I can't sit down and have time to just listen to it through, because I think that's part of what you artists create is something that. I know you think through of the track order and the songs and how one flows into the next, and so I appreciate that a great deal. I think it's a great point
I mean,
to
even
listen to.
when I'm in my car, if I'm listening through like music, most of my music. I don't use streaming services or anything like that. I have music that I've loaded
Yeah,
onto my phone that I'll Bluetooth to my car, or I listen to CDs. And I mean,
yeah,
I'll listen to as much of I can listen to until I get where I'm going, and then when I get
yeah,
back in the car again, I pick it right up where I left off until that album's
yeah.
over. It's just,
I
and it's
love
not like
that.
consciously I do that. It's just that I feel the need that I want to hear the whole thing.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
skip too many tracks on any record by any band. So even the bad ones are worth listening to.
That's right. Yeah, I love that. All right,
Yeah, I
y'all.
think
Well,
I think like the Division Bell from Pink Floyd, I might get some hate mail for this one, but that- that's one of my favorites from them because it has such a great flow, has such a great atmosphere from start to finish. And I know probably there's other albums you can point to from them that would be a better example of continuity from the first note to the last, but for me, that's the one that does it.
I'm with you totally, man. That one to me has that's like the new Pink Floyd's, the latter era there, the Gilmore era. Um, that's like their masterpiece. I think that was a great way for them to end. I think it's a great album, really. I know, yeah, like you said, some Pink Floyd purists would argue about that, say, oh, it's Dark
Right.
Side or it's The Wall or it's, what have you, it's Animals. But yeah, I'm with you. That for me is huge, huge album. Two more questions I'll ask y'all, and then if you have any little comments you want to add after that, and then I'll try and get y'all on your way so I don't take up too much more of your time. But one is, so you guys have been on Roxx Records the whole time, and maybe this is more for Rochelle too, I don't know, but you guys have been on Roxx Records. This new album, Tribulation, is coming out on Roxx, but you're also on Resurrection Records. Is that correct? Tell me a little bit how that partnership works and why that's a good thing for the band.
We started with Roxx. We just got, I don't want to say lucky, but when the first CD was being created, Luke Neely and Chaz Bond and all them from Biogenesis at the time, they knew Bill with Roxx, and I just reached out to him and said, "Hey, would you even listen to it?" So that's basically how it started. And then in November of last year, Aaron Michaels Hobbs from Resurrection reached out to me and wanted us to join them. Well, I was holding off at the time because I knew we were going to be working on the CD, and I wasn't sure how that relationship would happen. Well, in the meantime, he had reached out to Bill with Roxx Records. They came up with a partnership, so we were able to do this with both. And Fear Not also is with both.
And the Brave.
Right.
And so what they do, so Roxx is still our physical distribution, promotion and that, and then Aaron with Jen with Lemaire's Promotions, they do all of our promoting and trying to get us on record play and all that, radio play.
Very good.
Cool. Well, that sounds like a good partnership to have working for you.
So far. It's been good working with them.
Awesome. All right.
Hey, I just got to throw out real quick, since you brought up Luke Neely, Luke and the crew are in a different band now called After Winter. So if you've not heard them, go check that out. That's some pretty
nice.
It's good listening for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's really
brain,
good.
it's brain metal. It makes you have to think a little bit.
That's After Winter?
After Winter, yep.
After Winter, okay.
Yep.
Definitely check them out for sure. Are they on Roxx? No, they're...
Yeah, they're on Roxx.
Roxx.
I think so.
Okay, cool. All right, let's talk quickly. Immortal Fest. Y'all played last year, right? Immortal Fest?
Yeah.
Correct.
Open Festival. And are y'all playing this year too?
We are.
Yes.
We are. That's what I thought. Okay. So
August
tell me a little bit.
29th at 5 p.m.
August 29th. All right. Weapons of God is playing August 29th at Mortal Fest Part 2. Y'all are opening the festival, right?
Yep.
So, okay. So briefly, anybody jump in here again, but tell me what it was like last year and what you're most looking forward to going back to play again this year.
Oh, it was just incredible.
It was a good time for
It
sure.
was just incredible to be part of such a great event like that, to share the stage with one of my favorite bands, Theocracy. So that was really cool. So, we're looking forward to it. I mean, just to get the word out and spread the good news of Jesus Christ to everybody.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool last year. I didn't know for sure what to expect. I had not been to any of the shows that they had been doing up there. I forget Steve's name. Rochelle could tell me his last name, the guy that's running the thing up there. But Barhorst, yeah, Steve Barhorst. Sorry, Steve, if you hear this. But I wasn't sure what to expect. The thing to me was we had, I kind of came up partly on Christian rock and Christian metal myself. So to see the bill and to see some of the bands that were playing, and I'm like, man, I was listening to those guys when I was in high school, was really cool to me. And then to top that off, when we walked into the place, it's just a really cool venue to me, and they had it very well done. The effects around the entire room, the way they had the layout for the merch tables, nice big stage. Hindsight, after playing, I'll say it's probably some of the best live sound I've ever experienced. It's always a struggle on stage, it seems like, where depending on the venue and where you're at, sometimes you have difficulty hearing everything correctly. I thought they did a fantastic job with both the monitors and the front of the house after I heard some of the front of the house stuff and the other bands that played. So I had a really, really good time, and I thought everybody that was there, some of the bands that we had played with before, like Chaotic Resemblance and The Protest, and we kind of know those guys. Super, super great people, just, on fire for God. And it's just, you can't help yourself sometimes when you see a bunch of people and you start to, in your uh, worldly mind, go, I wonder what these people are about. They might look a little shady or whatever. And then to be pleasantly surprised at the fact that they're just absolutely fantastic people. So I think, to me, my favorite part about it is the people, that coming off stage and having, people come up to us and that, hey, I'd never heard your band before, but I'm really glad I came out early enough to catch your stuff. It was really good. I'm going to go over here and buy all your albums, those kinds of things. Really cool. It was a great experience, and I was just absolutely thrilled when Rochelle told us that they invited us back. I mean, we kind of had a hint. I think meeting Pastor Bob Beeman from Sanctuary Church. I mean, I used to get his newsletters when I was in junior high school back in the day. So I had met him in '89 at Cornerstone up near Chicago, and then to meet him again at this point in time, and for him to have positive words and positive feedback for us after we had played was really cool to me as well. So it's just the whole experience I thought was great. So when we found out we were going to play again this year, we were just like, cool, let's more or less, I guess, like Steve and Rochelle, kind of more than anything, we're like, cool, let's set a date to get in the studio so we can put out a new album, to have an album ready by the time we play Immortal Fest. So I was a little reluctant, but they pushed me and dragged me along, and I'm glad they did. So
We gotta push you. We got
huh?
to.
You do. You're right. I'm a professional procrastinator.
Oh, it was a great time. I mean, professional setup. I mean, great sound, like Leon was saying. I mean, lighting effects. I mean, it was a concert. I mean, it was a lot of fun, and everybody was really cool, very accommodating, very welcoming. A lot, a lot of, you could feel a lot of friendship. And meeting Pastor Bob, he was on my bucket list years ago. I mean, I always respected the guy, and I love listening to his messages, and meeting him was really, really cool. Um, yeah, it was a lot. It was a great time overall. And I'm looking forward to the next one.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
I'm almost done with my
Uh,
drink.
Right.
Jason, did you have a good time playing Immortal too?
Oh, it was a blast. I think as Steve mentioned, the venue was great. As Leon mentioned, the crew was great. They did stage transitions really, really, really well, which can really be a pain point when you have that many bands stacked up back to back to back. Um, but yeah, it was an amazing experience. Probably one of the best venues I've played. It was incredible.
Yeah, I think another thing too that I'm excited about that's coming up is we're going to be featured in the new Heaven's Metal magazine as well for the first time. But I'm more excited for Leon because he grew up reading these
Yeah,
magazines.
I
I mean, I
subscribed to Heaven's Metal when it was printed out on somebody's printer in their house and folded in half and stapled together, and they used to send it to me in an envelope by mail. So I've been I've been in that scene for a long, long time. So it's that's very cool as well. Which I'll have to talk to you guys about that, because I tried to go buy one of those pre-issues or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I could not do so. Not I'm talking to Rochelle mostly. Yeah. So, but I know they're supposed to have copies at Immortal Fest, so hopefully I
We've
can
got
get
them
a hold of
held.
one there. But
We've got them
Yeah,
held back.
yeah.
and Doug Van Pelt, who is with Heaven's Metal, he actually lives here in my area. So yeah, I know. I think the 26th, I think, is supposed to come out. There may be some issues, releasing a little bit before that for via mail. But yeah, Immortal, I think, is kind of the main launch of that. So they are imminent. They should be coming soon. Um, as we get closer to that date. But I'm looking forward to that too. I'm so glad y'all mentioned that. Heaven's Metal, great to have this. I think it's the 40th anniversary publication coming out for that. So that is so awesome to have that back. What a great time to do that. But you all have this new album coming out, Tribulation, July. What is it, Rochelle?
18th.
18th, July 18th, Weapons of God, Tribulation is coming out. I am so looking forward to this. You guys have got me more pumped up now here talking about it too. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to get that from day one. So I would encourage my listeners, viewers, audience out there to pick this album up. Be sure and check out Weapons of God's previous two albums too, the debut Weapons of God from 2019 and The War Within Us, right? 2021. But definitely be on point for getting Tribulation here when that comes out. And if you can, see these guys at Immortal on August 29th. Good stuff. Any closing thoughts from y'all? Anything you want to talk about the future of Weapons of God? What's next? What you guys enjoy most? Feel free to give me a closing thought from each of y'all.
I'd just say thank you to you, Tim. Appreciate it. It still kind of boggles my mind that people actually are interested in anything I have to say sometimes. Because there's times I say so much and maybe some of it hits home and some of it just falls by the wayside. But appreciate you having us on, and thanks for giving us your time and helping us kind of promote what we're trying to do here.
Absolutely. I love it. Love music. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think to echo Leon's point, I think people mostly feign interest in what I have to say. So thanks, Tim, for having us on. I think as far as the future goes, it's the 4 R's as opposed to the 3 R's in education. We got write, record, rock, and repeat. So write, record, play live, and do it all over again. And as Leon mentioned earlier, we've got a lot of material, and God's blessed us with the ability to do that. So hopefully we'll have the means.
Amen. Yeah, y'all keep it going. Y'all have good stuff going on.
Just want to say too that thank you for having us on here, and hope that you could maybe come out to Immortal Fest. Maybe
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
There.
Yeah, it would be great to meet you in person.
Come on, Tim, road trip.
To.
Road trip.
I know. If I can still make it work out, I will. It was looking really good for a while. Then it's kind of wavered a bit, and now I'm still like, I want to get back to that. So it's not completely out of the question yet. I would love to go there. So maybe. That's the best I can give right now is maybe. I'm going to try and make it happen. So, but I'd love to see y'all, meet y'all for sure.
Cool.
So that'd be awesome.
But yeah, I just want to say too that, we're not just a rock band. I mean, we're here if anybody needs prayer. If you need someone to talk to, you can reach out to us. I mean, you can reach out to us through Facebook, Messenger. We have a message you can send out on our website, weaponsofgod.com. There is you can go on contacts if you need to reach out to one of us. If you just need prayer or whatever, just reach out to any of us, and we'd be glad to pray over you or talk to you if you need someone to talk to.
Amen. I appreciate that, and I'll put all y'all's website and other social media both here on the screen and then also in the description here of the video down below, so people can know how to find you and also know where to order from Roxx Records, of course, and Resurrection, the new album and the past albums as well too. So make sure people have all that pertinent info handy as well. But I appreciate you mentioning that too, Steve. So hey, thanks. Oh, Rochelle, go ahead.
To play, they can contact me. So
yeah, we're looking for shows.
well, after September, only because he's getting ready to have surgery on his shoulder. So after September, they can go anywhere.
Yeah, he's getting a bionic arm, so he's going to be even better.
You're gonna be doing That's awesome. Well, thank you all so much for coming on today. I love it. It's been great chatting with y'all, and God bless. Keep this machine going on. Keep this ministry, this band, this music, this great work and talent that y'all are doing. These gifts on loan from God, right? Just keep it rolling.
Right on.
You're a blessing to many, and thank y'all so much for that.
Thank you, Tim. Really appreciate you, brother.
You bet. Thank y'all.